2 minutes ago, Nike's merchandising team was still staring at their computer screens in disbelief. The numbers didn't make sense. They couldn't make sense. A single product, a $45 logo shirt, had just generated over $70 million in sales in less than 90 minutes. Not a signature shoe, not a limited edition collaboration, a shirt with a logo, Shohei Ohtani's logo. And it had just rewritten the rules of sports merchandising in real time. What happened at Nike's online store between 10 a.m. PST and 11:30 a.m. PST this morning might be the most explosive product launch in sports merchandising history. The website crashed. Checkout queues stretched past 10 minutes. Resale listings appeared at 300% markup within 15 minutes of the drop. And by the time most fans even realized the shirt was available, it was already gone. This wasn't just a successful product launch. This was a cultural earthquake. And the aftershocks are still being felt across the entire sports business world. Nike has handled massive launches before. Jordan releases, LeBron signature drops, Travis Scott collaborations, Supreme partnerships. They've seen traffic spikes that would cripple smaller retailers. But this morning, even Nike wasn't ready for what Shohei Ohtani could do. The shirt dropped at 10 a.m. PST sharp. Within 3 minutes, Nike's website began experiencing slowdowns. By minute 5, the site was crawling. By minute 7, users were being placed in virtual checkout queues that stretched past 10 minutes. By minute 12, the site had crashed entirely for international users trying to access from Japan. We've seen Ohtani move product, but this was different, said a Nike digital merchandising insider who spoke on condition of anonymity. The system couldn't handle it. It was like a Supreme drop meets a Jordan release, except it's a $45 shirt. Not a $200 sneaker, a basic logo tee. And it was doing numbers we usually only see with our biggest global launches. The shirt itself is simple. Ohtani's personal logo, a minimalist design that's become synonymous with baseball's biggest star printed on premium Nike dry fit fabric. 3 colorways, white, black, and Dodger blue. Retail price, $45. Nothing extravagant. Nothing that screams limited edition hype beast grail. But by 11:30 a.m. PST, all 3 colorways were completely sold out. Nike Japan's servers had crashed twice. The main Nike.com checkout system had buckled under the load, and resale listings on StockX, eBay, and Grailed were already appearing at prices ranging from $135 to $200, a 300% markup on a shirt that had been available for less than 2 hours. The dashboard numbers told the story Nike's executives couldn't believe. Over 1.5 million site visitors in the first 30 minutes. Conversion rates that shattered internal records. And total sales that crossed $70 million before lunchtime on the West Coast. Nike employees weren't the only ones watching in shock. Within minutes of the drop, the entire sports merchandising ecosystem was scrambling to understand what they had just witnessed. Sneaker influencers began posting sold-out screenshots to Instagram and Twitter within 20 minutes of the launch. Accounts with millions of followers usually focused on Jordan retros and Yeezy releases were now posting about a baseball player's logo shirt. The cultural crossover was immediate and undeniable. Sports analysts started comparing the launch to LeBron James's signature line, Michael Jordan's Air Jordan Empire, and even Lionel Messi's Adidas collections. But none of those comparisons felt quite right. LeBron's signature shoes take months to generate $70 million in sales. Jordan Brand is a billion-dollar operation built over decades. Messi's Adidas line is massive, but it's never generated this kind of instant, explosive demand for a single basic apparel item. This was something different, something new. And rival brand executives were watching closely. We knew Ohtani was a marketing force, but this demand for a basic logo tee, that's Jordan-era power, said an Adidas executive who requested anonymity because they're not authorized to speak publicly about competitor products. We've been tracking Ohtani's marketability for years. We knew he moved the needle. But this is the kind of consumer demand that only happens once or twice a generation. Maybe less. Within 30 minutes of the drop, Ohtani Nike was trending on Twitter in the United States. Within 45 minutes, it was trending globally. By the 1 hour mark, it was the #1 trending topic in Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. Here's the part that nobody saw coming. Approximately 40% of the $70 million in sales came from the Japanese market, not the United States. Not the massive Los Angeles Dodgers fan base that Ohtani now represents. Japan. Nike Japan servers crashed twice during the launch window. The first crash happened at 10:07 a.m. PST, 2:07 a.m. JST in Japan. The second happened at 10:42 a.m. PST. Both times, Japanese consumers trying to access the Nike Japan store were met with error messages and frozen checkout screens. The Japan numbers are what really tell the story, said a sports marketing analyst who specializes in international athlete endorsements. Ohtani isn't just the biggest baseball star in the world. He's a cultural icon in Japan on a level that transcends sports. When he signs with Nike, when his logo drops on a shirt, that's not just a product launch, that's a cultural moment. And the Japanese consumer base responds accordingly. The demand was so intense that Nike Japan reportedly began fielding calls from Japanese retail partners within 20 minutes of the drop, asking when physical inventory would be available in stores. The answer? There is no physical inventory planned yet. This was an online exclusive launch, and it's already gone. The Japanese market's response also explains why resale prices spiked so quickly. Within 15 minutes of the initial drop, Japanese resale platforms like Mercari and Rakuten were flooded with listings for the shirt at prices ranging from 20,000 yuan to 30,000 yuan, approximately $135 to $200 USD, for a $45 shirt that had been available for less than a quarter of an hour. Sports analysts and merchandising experts have spent the hours since the drop trying to find a historical comparison that makes sense. The closest anyone can come is Michael Jordan's Air Jordan 1 releases in the mid-1,980 seconds, but even that doesn't quite capture what happened this morning. Jordan's sneakers revolutionized sports merchandising and created a billion-dollar industry. But those shoes retailed for $65 in $1,985 in today's dollars and built their legend over time. The cultural cachet grew. The demand compounded. The resale market emerged gradually. Ohtani's shirt did all of that in 90 minutes. LeBron James's signature line with Nike is worth an estimated $400 million annually. But that's across shoes, apparel, and accessories built over 2 decades. Ohtani just generated $70 million on a single apparel item in less time than it takes to watch a baseball game. Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi have massive global merchandising operations, but their sales are distributed across seasons, international markets, and diverse product lines. This was one shirt, one drop, one morning. What we're witnessing is the convergence of several massive trends, explained a sports business professor at a major university who studies athlete endorsements. Ohtani has the international appeal of soccer's biggest stars, the cultural significance of Jordan in his prime, and the generational talent that creates must-see moments. Add in the hypebeast culture that's made Supreme and limited drops so valuable, and you get this morning. A $45 shirt that moves like a $2,000 handbag. But here's the part that's being whispered in sports marketing circles but hasn't hit the headlines yet. Nike didn't expect this. According to multiple sources familiar with the launch planning, Nike projected strong sales for Ohtani's logo shirt. They knew it would do well. They anticipated demand from Dodgers fans, Japanese consumers, and baseball enthusiasts. But their internal sales projections were reportedly in the $8.12 million range for the first week. Not $70 million in 90 minutes. They underestimated him, said one source close to Nike's athlete marketing division. Everyone knew Ohtani was special. Everyone knew he had crossover appeal. But nobody, not Nike, not his agents, not even Ohtani himself, understood the level of demand that exists for anything with his name on it right now. This launch just proved that Shohei Ohtani isn't just a baseball superstar. He's a cultural icon on the level of Jordan, LeBron, and Messi. Maybe bigger. The implications are massive. If a $45 logo shirt can generate $70 million in sales in less than 2 hours, what can a full signature line do? What happens when Nike launches Ohtani-branded sneakers, hoodies, caps, and a complete apparel collection? And more importantly, Why did Nike wait this long to find out? Within hours of the sellout, rival sports brands were holding emergency strategy meetings. Adidas, Under Armour, Puma, and New Balance all have massive athlete endorsement portfolios. They've all been tracking Ohtani's rise, and they've all just watched Nike score the merchandising win of the decade. This changes the calculation for every brand, said an Under Armour executive who spoke off the record. We've been focused on basketball, football, and soccer for global athlete marketing. Baseball has always been seen as more regional, big in the U.S. and Japan, but not truly global. Ohtani just proved that thinking is outdated. If you have the right athlete, someone who transcends the sport, the demand is there, and it's bigger than anyone realized. The competitive pressure is already building. Sources indicate that Adidas has reached out to several MLB stars about signature apparel lines in recent weeks. New Balance, which already has a strong baseball presence, is reportedly exploring expanded partnerships with international players. Even Puma, which has stayed largely out of baseball, is rumored to be considering entry into the market. But here's the problem for every other brand. Shohei Ohtani is one of one. There's nobody else in baseball or in sports generally who has his combination of on-field dominance, cultural significance, and international appeal. Nike didn't just sign a great player. They signed the player who can move product like Jordan in his prime. Nike isn't wasting time. According to multiple sources, the company is already planning an immediate restock of the logo shirt, with production numbers significantly higher than the initial run. The timeline? Reportedly within 2 to 3 weeks. But the restock is just the beginning. Nike is also fast-tracking an expanded Ohtani collection that was originally planned for a gradual rollout over the next year. Now, that timeline is being compressed. Hoodies, caps, training apparel, and potentially even a signature sneaker line are all reportedly being accelerated. The internal conversations have shifted dramatically in the last few hours, said a source familiar with Nike's athlete marketing strategy. Before this morning, Ohtani was seen as a strong partner with solid commercial potential. Now, and he's being discussed as a potential global icon, someone who could anchor Nike's expansion in Asia and compete with Jordan Brand's cultural significance. That's a massive shift in how the company approaches the partnership. There's also talk of making Ohtani a Nike brand ambassador beyond baseball, using his image and logo across Nike's entire product ecosystem. Similar to how Jordan Brand operates independently within Nike's structure. That would put Ohtani in rarefied air, a baseball player with the merchandising power to transcend his sport entirely. The financial implications are staggering. If Nike can generate $70 million from a single basic apparel item, a full Ohtani collection could potentially generate hundreds of millions or even billions annually. That would make Ohtani's Nike partnership one of the most valuable athlete endorsements in sports history. Step back from the numbers for a moment and consider what actually happened this morning. A baseball player playing a sport that's supposedly in decline, that supposedly can't compete with basketball and football for cultural relevance, just generated more merchandising demand in 90 minutes than most athletes generate in a year. That's not supposed to be possible. Baseball isn't cool. Baseball isn't hypebeast culture. Baseball isn't Supreme or Jordan or Travis Scott, except now apparently it is. Because Shohei Ohtani is rewriting the rules. The crossover appeal is the key. Sneaker influencers who have never posted about baseball are posting about Ohtani's shirt. Fashion accounts are covering it. General sports fans who couldn't name 5 other baseball players are talking about it. That's cultural power that transcends sports. Ohtani has become something we haven't seen before, explained a cultural trend analyst who tracks athlete influence. He's not just a great baseball player. He's a symbol of excellence, of international success, of cultural bridging between East and West. When people buy his logo shirt, they're not just buying baseball merch. They're buying into the idea of Ohtani, what he represents, what he's achieved. That's icon status. That's Jordan territory. You can't manufacture the icon power that makes a $45 shirt generate $70 million in 2 hours. You can't create demand like that through marketing campaigns or social media strategies or clever branding. That kind of consumer response only happens when an athlete transcends sports and becomes something bigger, a cultural force, a generational icon, a symbol that resonates across borders and demographics. Shohei Ohtani just proved he's not just the future of baseball, he's the future of sports business. And Nike just won the lottery.